I think Congress should be very proud of its new record. Joining me now, three of my favorite American voices: Lloyd Chapman, the American Small Business League president; Mark Simone, talk show host on WABC radio talk show host, Fox News contributor, co-host of the 5 at 5 on the Fox News channel, Monica Crowley. Thanks for being here.
Hi, Lou.
Let's start with that congressional approval rating, or disapproval. I don't know what you really want to call that. I mean, that's really devastating.
10% approval. I want to know who the 10% are, because I'm surprised they're that high after their track record over the last couple of years. But certainly I think this is a direct result of the negotiations over the size of government, the spending levels of government, and the national debt. And what we have seen since, certainly since April, with the continuing resolution debate and now with the debt ceiling debate, is that these guys can't get on the same page. Spending continues to explode, and there's no long-term solution.
Well, all of what Monica just said, Lloyd, is true. There's just one problem. There's no differentiation in that poll between Republicans and Democrats and their various policy differentiations. What do you make of it? Lloyd, can you hear me? Because you're you're not reacting like you heard me. You're making me very nervous, Lloyd.
I'm sorry. I'm not used
to folks. You know, thinking before they respond. Can you watch?
I'm sorry. I'm getting old. I got to think about this stuff. I agree with Monica. Who are these 10% of people think they're doing a good job? Are they not watching television, not reading the newspaper? You know, I would think that the Congress's approval rating would be like, 0%. I mean, we've lost our AAA rating. The stock market's in chaos. Unemployment's still high. This country's going bankrupt.
Well,
I can't believe it. Anybody.
You got Congress at 0. What would you get President Obama then?
Less than 0.
Oh, wow,
-4.
You're a tough grader.
Yes.
Mark, how about you?
He's the leader.
Well,
he's our leader. It's his fault.
He's certainly the president.
Well, I can explain it. The 10% are all the lobbyists in America, which is actually probably 10% of our population, 30 million people.
Or beneficiaries of lobbyists. Right?
Beneficiaries. It's just insane. If this is not doing a bad job, what criteria do these people use?
We've got to. We're going to do something, and I want to get your reaction to this, because Thelonious Monk. And I want to apologize in advance for the language he used that we had to remove. And you're going to hear more beeps in a paragraph or so than you will have ever heard in your life. But Thelonious Monk, comedian, gets to some really important intellectual architecture here on the debt, on China, and what we call a government. Listen, if you will, to this.
This isn't personal. This isn't Democratic or Republican. This is everybody. Stop being a balance the budget. My second question, though, my second issue is, how do you owe China, B? How do you owe China? How can I tell my daughter with a straight face that capitalism is a better system than communism if we're borrowing all of our money from the biggest communist country on the planet? You get your, oh!
I think Mr. Monk posed in direct language precisely the question that every American needs to ask himself and herself. What do you think the answer is?
Yes. Well, the answer is that you got to get the debt crisis under control, because the bigger
What
question...
is the answer to... Let me rephrase the question, Thelonious Monk, without the ancillary verbiage. How is it that we're borrowing more money from a communist nation in order to stay afloat as the principal free enterprise capitalist nation on earth? How could we be in this situation?
This is a perfect encapsulation of what the debt crisis is, right? But one of the great ironies here is that we have the Chinese communists lecturing the American capitalists about spending levels and debt. And you know what the irony, Lou, is that the Chinese are right. So how does an American parent, and I hope he doesn't use that language with his kids, I don't know how old they are, but how does an American parent then explain this to their children? It's all part of the broader narrative of American decline. And Americans are fighting that tooth and nail.
I would like to see him on the super committee.
That's Amen. Amen.
I'm serious. We need somebody
like
too. And we need a real business community
member.
And we need a real citizen on that committee. John Kerry, all these same retreads that got
Lloyd, you know, people talk about diversity all the time in this country. And racial diversity, ethnic diversity, religious diversity. How about some occupational diversity? How about some diversity of perspective?
Absolutely. I love Obama's, was it his Jobs Council of all the Fortune 500 corporations that have shipped millions of jobs overseas? I think GE was the head of it, and GE has shipped more jobs overseas than any other country, or excuse me, any other business in the nation. It's crazy.
To China, by the way.
Well, to countries
to
all over the world.
Now, there is a positive note on all this. At least the communist country thinks the only safe place to park their money is in the U.S.
And you know, with that positive note, we conclude. And Mark Simone, thanks. We can always count on you. And you're right. You're absolutely right. Lloyd, thank you very much. Monica, thank you. Mark,
Thank you.
Thank you.